Hey everybody, welcome back. This week we're going to tackle a lot of the electrical that's remaining. That's kind of one of the two main things we're waiting on. So we need to get all the electrical done, and then we also need to still get the steel and weld up the frame so it can support the motor. So that combination with battery boxes, we still need to get those done. But really, once we get that, it's kind of that's a pretty big milestone. So that's what we're working towards, and we'll see how far we get. All right, so this is a bracket that I had made for to accommodate the brakes as well as the Tesla Hall Effects gas pedal. So that turned out nice. We did do a little test fit on the car. There's one panel though that needs to be in place before we can kind of permanently mount it. But for now, we are going to kind of wire up this connector that goes to the gas pedal. All right, I got the connector for the Tesla gas pedal all wired up. So we will put it in place and route the wires to the back. All right, we are focusing on essentially trying to get all the wires connected. So this is a pinout for the main connector. This is kind of for the controller on the controller side. And then we've got another pinout for, this is on the Tesla motor side. And then here's kind of the wiring diagram. So I got the essentially the pedal, I got all those wires run to the back. So I'll do ground, that's an easy one. The brake switch, I don't know if that has to be Tesla or not. I've got a brake switch, but I'll have to see if that's something special. But yeah, so I'll just keep going, walk you through it as I'm going. I am ready to make some twisted pairs. So I got wires there that are held in the vise, all the way back over here. Got it on my drill bit, or on my drill, and just kind of tie it around there. So we'll see how this works. Alright, so there's my twisted pair. So I think that'll work okay. Yeah. Alright, so I got 4 down, 15 to go. So 6 of those though are from the pedal, the accelerator pedal. So I've got those already kind of in the car and like essentially kind of going back all the way to the motor, so I might not put those in until the very end where I'm trying to tidy up plugs and wires and stuff. But yeah, got a couple more to go. Alright, I got 4 more wires done. So those were the wires to the this is the encoder for the motor. So I'm getting there. I've got a couple questions out. Just not sure on a couple of the pins, but again, 6 more will go to the gas pedal. And anyways, we're just about there with this plug. Then we've got to do the controller plug, and still got to do the battery management system. So those are all things we need to do before we get the motor going. All right, so I'm pretty much done. This is the Tesla motor inverter plug. So I've pretty much got everything wired. I need one. Let's see, so this one here needs to be plugged in, but I need a 120 ohm resistor, and I just don't have one right now. The only other one is I need to get shielding for the twisted pair cable, and apparently that gets tied into this plug as well. So I need those, and then I can wrap this up, but this one goes to the gas pedal, this one goes to the encoder, the motor encoder. I've got some other ones going to the brake pedal, and some more that'll just go to the drive controller. So I'm going to start wiring the drive controller next. All right, one other question I had is the accelerator pedal pin out, or at least the diagram here says 1, 2, 3 on top and 6, 5, 4 on the bottom. So does that mean that when I go to my pedal here, that it goes 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4? Or is that just kind of something they did so all the lines could go straight across? So I've got a question in. They've not been super responsive right now, so I guess we'll find out. All right, so I got this connector kind of all wired up. Let's see, the only ones I'm missing, there's 3 wires, but those are all coming from the inverter plug that I already made. So I'm gonna fish those wires all the way up to the front and then put them in. But I gotta get all this kind of tidied up, and some of the wires go to the back, some of them go to the fuse relay, and anyway, so there's a couple different places they go, so I will need to send them to the right places, cut them to length, and then loom them. All right, so here's the update. This plug has got everything except for 2 wires coming from the back. So I'm gonna put it in place. It's pretty close to where it'll be. And then this is the plug in the back. It's got everything except for I need a shielded cable that actually gets a wire. Probably just ground out all the noise and things. So waiting on that one. That's coming tomorrow. On the high voltage side, I may end up just making my own box. It's just a little crowded for my taste. But this is about where we've got everything kind of wired. So again, some of the wires from the controller will go to here and here. But yeah, so all those will kind of go in the back. I've got steel coming, and so what I need to do now is essentially get steel kind of to hold the batteries, kind of make some battery boxes. I've got the back one figured out, I think. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what to do on this front one. But from there, I'll just need to get all the terminals, you know, going back and forth through the batteries, run the cables, big orange cables, kind of back to the back. In the back, all my batteries again will have to run all the packs together and through the high voltage box there, and then to the motor. Gonna take a break from electrical for just a second so we can do a couple other odds and ends and keep our sanity. I am going to try to mount the newly finished kind of garnish pieces that line the around the steering column, and also try and put on the new steering wheel that's way over there. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I had to abort mission. I'm just missing those 6 screws. A couple other things to look at though. So it seems to made up pretty well with this fiberglass piece. So I think that should look good. You know, I also didn't put in the so down there is windshield wiper and headlight switch. So I didn't load those in. I need to. The other thing though I was looking at is it looks like we're kind of coming up a little short there, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do there. I'll probably try and read and figure out. The other thing is this guy, it looks like it's supposed to come all the way up. It's hitting there just a little bit, so I don't know if this guy's a little bent, would be maybe my guess with all the stuff we've done. It can still, you know, go down and loosen the steering column. I just think it needs to come up more to kind of keep it tight. So that's kind of the update there. Alright, I know we're mostly focused on electrical, but did get some brackets and things in for the cooling, so for the radiator and such. So had these made, and these should go under the radiator to kind of support it, and then these ones will go on top to kind of keep it from rocking back and forth. Also got a mount for kind of this overflow reservoir, as well as this will be for the pump, and got a T-fitting. Anyways, I think we got enough to kind of complete that, so we'll work on that a little bit as well. Alright, so I've got these radiator brackets. They're actually really quite tight, so I have to kind of put one side in and then like push it down, which is actually quite nice. Other than that, I'm going to drill some holes, put some rib nuts in there, and I've also got, did I show? I've got the top brackets as well, right here. So these ones will go on. Alright, so I'm going to try something I found on YouTube. This is a rib nut. So again, this is just a kind of a scrap piece of metal. Got a hole in the right size, place the rib nut in. I've got essentially some washers, just get the right spacing, and then I kind of lube them up just so they turn easy. And then I've got, I did 2 nuts here that I drilled out to the right size to accommodate the screw. So I'm going to go ahead and drive it in and see if that'll pull it up like a rib nut. Sorry, I thought I'll stop just for a second and see if you can see that. So it looks like it's working. I'm going to keep going a little bit. I think it goes a little bit more. So I think that looks good. Alright, so there's rib nut installed. Alright, I'm going to start working on some of the fiberglass repair. So I figured I'd start with these wheel wells. So you got pretty big, anyways, crack damage there, a little bit right there, maybe even a spot there. On this other panel, again, right there, over here. So I figured I'd start here just because cosmetics really don't matter. It's a good place for me to learn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut out essentially those sections, and then I will put the fiberglass on the back side, a couple sheets, and then I can do like filler over that side. And again, this is wheel well, so I don't know that I'll care too much, but again, figure a good place to learn. Alright, so I found all the cracks, and basically anytime I saw a little crack, I just went all the way, get a nice round surface so I don't have any crack propagation problems. So down there were 2, and I think that's just because it got, flexed or opened. So those ones. This was the big one here. And then on this one, again, both corners there, and then up here, so, and over there. So, got all the cracks taken out. Now it's time to fiberglass them back in. Alright, so I've got it inside. I sanded down kind of about 2 or 3 inches beyond all the areas, both inside and outside. Cleaned it up with some cleaner, and now getting ready to prepare my first batch of the resin to lay down the fiberglass. So I'll let you see how it goes. Okay, so here's how it looks after the first couple layers. Again, I opted for the fiberglass, the strands, the random strands. I heard it was easier to go kind of around curves and things like that, which it was, but definitely with those short pieces I had, it wanted to fray a lot more, and so you can see even fraying here. So when the resin all dries, I'll just take a Dremel tool and just kind of clean that up. So anyways, on the front side, this one I'm going to do at least 1 or 2 more. That one, again, maybe another one. But just want to give you a quick look at what it looks like. One other thing is, as far as application, I would not recommend a brush. It just soaks up essentially all of your resin, and which is fine. Then you can dab things. Again, I found it easier to dab than it is to brush, but again, so much resin is just left in that brush. So I'm gonna see if I can maybe use something else. Alright, here's the second panel. I feel like I did better on the first one. This one I tried to mix up a little bit more, and it just didn't have enough working time, so some of the places it just didn't soak in as well. But the other thing I found is the metal roller seemed to be like the best way to apply it, because it didn't lose any, and was able to kind of get it in there and kind of squeegee it and soak it up. So I'll let these cure overnight and kind of clean them up tomorrow and let you see what they look like. Here are the results of the fiberglass. So I cleaned it up here just kind of with a Dremel. Basically it looked pretty good. The sections here that are a little lighter color, I just didn't have it saturated enough. So again, I'm not super worried. I was just trying to get this little crack that was right here. So I think I've got plenty of strength. I'll probably just grind that, any of those spots off that are kind of not fully bonded down. But that's how that looks. Or here, Again, I probably need to get a little more even there. But again, kind of got a section there that's not quite saturated. So what I learned is go ahead and oversaturate and make sure it's all down. All right, everybody, that does it for this week. See you again next week.